Discover the incredible journey of a heartbroken dog. From laughter to life-changing redemption, Charlie, the golden retriever with a heart of gold, trotted down the sun-drenched streets of Maplewood, once a vibrant landscape of joy and laughter. Each step felt heavy without the cheerful calls of his best friend Timmy. The air, once filled with the sound of giggles and barks, now echoed in silence. Charlie's tail hung low, a shadow of the enthusiastic wagging it used to be. The townsfolk felt the loss too, as if a piece of Maplewood had vanished along with Timmy and his mom. Timmy was a little explorer, his bright eyes reflecting dreams that soared higher than the clouds. He and Charlie were inseparable. They had a bond as deep as the roots of the ancient oaks lining the main street. But circumstances twisted their lives, forcing Timmy's mother to seek a better life in the big city, leaving Charlie to navigate a world that felt too big and empty without his human by his side. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of pink and orange, but for Charlie, each sunset felt like a reminder of what was lost. The sounds of laughter from nearby picnics and evening barbecues turned into haunting echoes of memories. Charlie would linger outside the Donovans' old house, waiting, hoping to catch a glimpse of Timmy's familiar smile. His longing stirred the hearts of the townspeople, who began to share stories of Charlie's joyful antics, the time he helped catch a runaway frisbee or snatched a hot dog from the grill on the 4th of July. They rallied for him, recalling the warmth he brought into their lives. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As July approached, so did hope. The community decided to organize a fundraiser, a spectacle adorned with colorful bunting and sparklers, a warm invitation for everyone to come together. Charlie found solace in Mr. Jenkins, a veteran with haunting eyes that mirrored his loneliness. Together, they wandered the town, both seeking what had been lost, forming a friendship forged in silence. But just as the fundraiser brought laughter back to the streets mingled with the scent of cotton candy and popcorn, misunderstandings swirled like storm clouds. Charlie felt the anxious tightening in his chest as the townsfolk erupted in joy, oblivious to the turmoil brewing beneath the shimmering surface. In a moment of chaos, a wayward child mistook Charlie for a stray, sending him running. As darkness fell and fireworks lit the sky, Charlie's heart sank deeper into despair. Each burst was a painful reminder of Timmy, and with heavy paws he walked away from the celebration, searching for an ending that felt nowhere in sight. Would he ever see Timmy again? Would the heartwarming bond they had ever be reignited? Charlie looked towards the horizon, hope flickering like the dying embers of the fireworks, teetering on the edge of uncertainty. Charlie walked through the cool night air, his heart aching with each heavy step. The sounds of the celebration faded behind him, replaced by the rustling leaves and the distant hoots of owls. As darkness enveloped him, the glow of the fireworks had vanished, leaving the world around him in shadow. Where once joy filled his heart was now an aching void, a stark contrast to the warmth of the day. He found himself at the edge of Maplewood, where the streetlights cast a soft, sepia glow over familiar paths. It was quiet here, a place where he and Timmy had chased fireflies and played hide-and-seek among the trees. Charlie's nose twitched with the sense of the past, Timmy's laughter lingering in his memory as he trod the soft earth. Each pawprint felt like a story waiting to be told, yet all he felt was loneliness. Suddenly, the soft sound of a child's laughter reached his ears, carried by the wind. His heart leapt. Could it be? In a surge of hope, Charlie began to trot towards the sound, his instincts sharpened by the pang of longing. He approached the playground where he and Timmy had spent countless afternoons. There, illuminated by a single flickering light, he saw a small silhouette. Charlie. The voice was soft, almost tentative but familiar. It made Charlie's heart race as he bounded forward, ears perked and eyes wide. There, sitting on a swing, was a girl with golden curls, the spitting image of Timmy when he was younger. "Are you lost, boy?" she asked, her hand extending toward him. He hesitated for a brief moment, unsure if this was a dream or some trick of the night. But the sweet innocence of her voice pulled him closer. Her hand was warm as it stroked his head, and he leaned into her palm, taking in her comforting presence. However, as she continued to giggle at his antics, a flutter of confusion washed over him. She wasn't Timmy. Yet there was something in her eyes that stirred a flicker of hope within him. Perhaps she could help him. "Do you want to play?" she asked, looking brightly at Charlie. "I can be your best friend too." Charlie barked softly, intrigued. Maybe this girl represented a new beginning. A new friend who could fill part of the void left by Timmy. And yet, a pang of guilt washed over him. Was it right to let someone else in? Just as he was about to pull away, a gentle gust of wind brushed through the trees, whispering of possibilities as they played under the starry sky. The night transformed into something magical. Laughter echoed through the darkness, a sweet balm for his heart, but deep down, the question lingered: could he ever truly let another replace his beloved Timmy? With each bounce and joyous bark, Charlie felt a flicker of warmth rekindle within him. Maybe he didn't have to forget Timmy to embrace this moment. Perhaps love could grow, even in the shadows of past sadness. Just when Charlie felt ready to embrace this new friendship, a sudden noise startled him: an approaching car's headlights cutting through the darkness like a knife. His heart skipped a beat. What if this was the moment that changed everything? Who could emerge from the vehicle and alter the course of his life once again? As he turned to look, hope tinged with anxiety surged through him. Would this be the key to rekindling his lost connection? Or another twist in the road of his journey? Charlie stood, poised between the past and the unknown, ready to leap into whatever was next. The car's headlights pierced through the darkness, illuminating the swings and casting long shadows on the ground. Charlie felt a rush of adrenaline, his instincts screaming for attention. He turned fully, eyes wide and ears perked, ready to discover who would step into his world. The girl's laughter faded behind him, replaced by the deep rumble of tires on gravel. The car came to a halt, and Charlie could make out a figure moving inside. The door swung open, revealing a tall man with tired eyes and an uncertain expression. He hesitated at first before stepping out, the glow of the lights bathing him in an almost ethereal hue. Charlie's heart raced with recognition. He had seen this man before the night had turned so dark. Timmy's dad. "Charlie," the man said, his voice shaky, filled with a mix of shock and disbelief. He looked down, scanning the playground with wide eyes. For a moment, everything felt frozen. The air was thick with questions that hung unspoken between them. Charlie's heart surged. Was this the moment he had been waiting for? Could this man bring him closer to Timmy again? As his feet still tingled with energy, he took a step forward, but the man seemed lost in thought, a hint of pain flickering across his face. "Charlie," he repeated softly, kneeling down. His eyes brimmed with tears. "Is it really you?" Charlie trotted closer, feeling an inexplicable pull, a connection that reignited memories buried just beneath the surface. He nudged the man's hand, and the warmth of their touch sparked something in both of them. This was no ordinary reunion. It was as if time had folded back on itself, bringing old joys intertwined with present sorrows. The girl watched them, her smile dimming slightly. She sensed the weight of the moment. "Is he your dog?" she asked hesitantly, her innocence somehow amplifying the heaviness of the scene. "Yes," the man said, finally glancing at her. "He was Timmy's best friend." I thought. His voice broke, almost unable to complete the thought. Charlie wagged his tail, his heart aching yet buoyant with a new understanding. They were bonded by loss, yet also a shared love for Timmy. It was bittersweet but grounding, reminding him that he wasn't alone in this aching universe. The man reached out, pulling Charlie into a gentle embrace, burying his face in the thick fur on Charlie's neck. "I miss him so much," he murmured. Charlie felt the man's tears wet against his coat, each drop echoing the very sympathy of his own heartache. Suddenly, the girl stepped forward, her small hand reaching out again. "Can I pet him?" she asked softly. "Of course," Timmy's dad replied, wiping his eyes. Charlie turned and allowed the girl to stroke his fur, hoping her joy might ease the burdens that compressed the evening air. For a moment, her laughter returned, mingling with the man's genuine smile as Charlie reveled in it all, feeling the breach in his heart stretch maybe a little wider. But just when it seemed they might heal together, the darkness thickened. A voice echoed from the other direction. "David, where are you?" Charlie's ears perked up. Familiarity clung to that voice like the lingering notes of a song. David looked back, an unsettled expression flickering over his features. "It's my wife," he whispered, suddenly fraught with uncertainty. "She doesn't know I came here." Charlie sensed the tension building, both between the man and his past, but also in the deeper connection of their shared love for Timmy. What lay ahead was unknown, but the air hummed with possibilities and choices yet to be made. Should they face this together? Or would fear draw them apart once more? With his heart pounding, Charlie stood between the two, acutely aware that everything was about to change again. Would the comfort of this reunion be overshadowed by fresh fears? Or could the light of hope break through the shadows? The moment hung in the air, thick with emotions that mingled like swirling fog. Charlie glanced between David, his master's dad, and the approaching woman. He could sense the turmoil inside David, a storm of regret and longing fighting for control. The car's headlights lit up the gravel path where shadows danced, and every second felt like a powerful heartbeat echoing in the night. "David!" The voice grew louder, urgency lacing through it as it carried a hint of worry. Each syllable pulled David deeper into a reality he was trying to escape. He had come here to feel the presence of Timmy, to find peace, and now it tangled with this new fear. The little girl, clutching her teddy bear, looked up at David with wide eyes. "Is it okay if I go?" she asked, already sensing the tension hanging heavily around them. There was a softness in her tone, a protective instinct even at her young age. After a moment that felt like an eternity, David sighed deeply, the sound filled with resignation. "Maybe it's best if you go find your parents." He gently squeezed Charlie's scruffy fur one more time, as though gathering strength from their bond. "Thank you for coming for a visit, sweet girl." Watching the girl scamper back toward the playground, Charlie felt a pang of anxiety. The laughter that floated away replaced by anxiety was a heavy cloak. He turned back to David, who was still lost, staring at the ground like the memories there could answer his questions. When David finally lifted his gaze, Charlie understood. "I'm sorry, Charlie," he spoke softly. "I didn't mean to bring you here and then face this." Charlie nudged him. With his nose against David's hand, he hoped to remind the man that he was not alone. They were bound together by love and pain, both seeking the same solace, even if shadows loomed large. Blurred footsteps emerged from the darkness as David's wife, Sarah, came closer. Her features were filled with concern, the search for her husband clear on her face. "David, why did you leave?" "I was worried." Her voice trailed off as she spotted Charlie, recognition flooding over her. Is that Charlie?" David's face paled, the weight of truth growing heavier. "I came to find some comfort, Sarah." I thought maybe what?" she interrupted, eyes sparkling with confusion and disbelief. "Thought you could come here and just leave our memories behind?" Charlie watched as the tension in the air shifted. Sarah's anger blended with hurt, and it was palpable. David opened his mouth to speak but faltered, his heart clearly fighting to communicate feelings that words seemed too weak to express. Instead of retreating, Charlie stepped closer to the pair. He never wanted to be a wedge between anyone, but he could feel a desperate need for connection, both of them grieving in ways they did not yet understand. As Sarah's expression softened, Charlie noticed the glimmer of tears forming in her eyes. "I didn't know if you'd forgive me," David revealed, his voice low. "I thought I might find him here. I thought it would help." "Help what?" Sarah looked away, blinking rapidly as she tried to regain her composure. And in that moment everything hung in the balance. Charlie edged closer, nudging both of them as if to say, "Remember the joy. Remember Timmy." The wind shifted, sending a chill through the air as if even nature awaited their answer. David and Sarah, both lost in their grief, stood on the precipice of rediscovery. Could this outing, this reconnection, lead them to healing? Or would it tear them further apart into the void of sorrow they felt was insurmountable? Charlie's heart raced, sensing the urgency of the moment. He looked up at both of them, hoping they would choose to embrace the chance to fight and mend what was broken. And when he felt their hesitance, something deep inside him whispered that their journey was just beginning. What would happen next? Could their reunited love find a way to break the hold of darkness? David took a tentative step closer to Sarah, his heart pounding like a storm brewing within him. "I thought just being here would help. That maybe I'd feel closer to Timmy somehow." His voice, usually so steady, cracked like fragile glass as the wind rustled the trees. Charlie pressed himself against David's leg, his warmth adding a lift to the somber moment. He glanced up at Sarah, searching for signs of hope between her furrowed brows. "Timmy deserves more than just our ghosts," Sarah said, her tone wavering as she wiped away a tear that slipped down her cheek. "We can't just be chained to our pain, David. We need to honor him. Together." A sudden clarity surged through David. He looked at Sarah, really looked at her. Her eyes were pools of vulnerability, yet he could also see the strength shining through. "You're right, we do," he admitted, his voice steadier now. "But I didn't know how to start. I've been so lost." Charlie wagged his tail, sensing the shift in the air. Their grief, like a heavy fog, was beginning to lift, revealing the warmth of shared memories. Together they had built a life rich with laughter and love. It was time to reclaim that. "Remember those park picnics? The time Timmy tried to chase a squirrel and tripped?" Sarah's smile, though stained with sadness, illuminated her face. David chuckled softly, the sound feeling foreign yet familiar, almost like stepping into a cherished old song. "Yeah," David laughed, his voice tinged with warmth. He face-planted right into the grass. The memory wrapped around them like a gentle embrace. Charlie, catching their joy, let out a soft bark, nudging them both playfully. His furry body felt like a bridge between their hearts, a reminder of innocence and the simple joys. "What if we created new memories?" Sarah suggested, her voice brightening, a flicker of excitement sparking in her eyes. "Maybe we could get involved at the local shelter? Help other animals like Charlie?" David's heart leapt at the thought. The road to healing would not be easy, yet it felt necessary, like a breath after being submerged underwater for too long. "Idea like that. I think that could help us remember Timmy in a way that honors him." Charlie's tail thumped against the earth in approval, his excitement infectious. For the first time since arriving at the park, hope threaded its way through David's heart like sunlight breaking through thick clouds. They would not run from their memories, they would embrace them, transition from sorrow to action, from grief to gratitude. As Sarah reached for David's hand, Charlie nudged them to walk forward, drawing them back towards the shadows of the trees that surrounded the playground. Together they moved toward the light, a family united once more, navigating the laughter and love that would fill their lives again. But as they ventured forward, a strange figure emerged from the edge of the park, a woman standing still, her expression cloaked in uncertainty. Charlie's nose twitched, sensing something significant about her. David and Sarah halted, their moment of connection interrupted by this unexpected arrival. "Do I know you?" Sarah questioned, her heart pumping wildly as she squinted into the darkness, curiosity battling with anxiety. The woman stepped closer, her voice trembling. "I've been looking for you for Charlie. What could this stranger want with Charlie? And what secrets might intertwine their pasts?" The woman took a cautious step forward, her eyes darting between David and Sarah. There was something hauntingly familiar about her, a spark of recognition that David couldn't quite place. As she drew nearer, the shadows danced around her features, making her seem almost ethereal. "Who are you?" Sarah's voice trembled slightly, still holding David's hand tightly. My name is Lily," she said, swallowing hard. "I knew Charlie before he came to you." David felt the air thicken. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice steady but laced with worry. Lily's hands fidgeted at her sides, anxiety written all over her face. "Charlie, he was part of my family once. We had to let him go." A sudden wave of confusion washed over David. He looked down at Charlie, who was now sniffing the grass, blissfully unaware of the turmoil brewing between them. "Let him go? What do you mean?" Sarah asked, her brow furrowed. Lily hesitated for a moment, collecting her thoughts. "I'm sorry. It wasn't safe for us anymore. We lost our home. I thought I'd find a way to bring him back." But her voice broke, tears welling in her eyes. "By the time I could, he had already been adopted." David's heart raced. A flood of emotions surged through him, the bittersweet reality crashing over them. Charlie wasn't just a stray they had taken in. He had a life before this one. "And you want him back?" No, that's not it." Lily rushed to clarify, desperation spilling from her. I wanted to know he was okay. I wanted to see him one more time." Charlie, sensing the tension, padded over to Lily, his tail wagging, and licked her hand. In that simple gesture, he filled the air with warmth, binding everyone together in unspoken love. David watched as Lily knelt down, her fingers brushing through Charlie's fur. And in that moment, he saw the bond they once shared. "He's happy with you, isn't he?" Sarah nodded slowly, the weight of her heartache still visible, but some light had begun to flicker through the cracks. He is part of our family now." Lily straightened, wiping away tears as she took a deep breath. "I never meant to come between you or giving him a life I couldn't provide." Her voice softened. "But his happiness is what matters most." David's mind raced. They had begun to forge their way back to happiness and had even started thinking about new beginnings. But there stood a woman who loved Charlie once, a woman who held the echo of his past in her heart. "What do you want us to do?" David asked, his voice a mixture of concern and empathy. "I just wanted to say goodbye," she replied, a small sad smile forming on her lips. "To let you know he is loved, always has been." As the words hung heavy in the air, David felt that familiar storm inside him come back to life. Would letting Charlie be with his past mean opening them up to pain again? Or could this be a step toward healing for everyone involved? "Maybe we should," David began, uncertainty threading his words. But he had barely spoken when a sudden shout pierced the tranquility of the moment. A child's laughter cut through the weight of their conversation, pulling their attention to a group of kids who had just entered the park, their carefree joy palpable. "Look, Mom! A puppy!" one girl exclaimed, pointing at Charlie as the children rushed toward them. Their energy electrified the air, rekindling the hope David and Sarah had just begun to weave back into their lives. "Maybe this is the sign we needed," Sarah whispered, squeezing David's hand tighter. But could a moment of shared joy be the answer to a heart heavy with past choices? David didn't know, but he felt the pulse of change stirring within him as Charlie bounded forward. Barking with excitement, David turned to Lily, whose apprehensive smile was met with the laughter of children. "We'll figure this out," he said with more conviction than he felt. Lily nodded but still seemed torn, her gaze shifting from the joyful noise to the sorrow that underscored the moment between them. Can we keep in touch?" she asked softly. David hesitated, the complexity of their situation swirling in his mind. Did opening this door lead to healing or heartache? "Let us see where this takes us," Sarah finally replied, her voice laced with an optimism that pierced through the confusion as the laughter grew. The shadows began to lift, revealing possibilities they hadn't imagined. What awaited them in this unexpected intersection of lives? And would the choice to embrace their past lead them back to the future they longed for? The tension hung like a taut string, ready to snap in any direction. Would they find the resolution they sought? Or would the past pull them back into its depths? Lily watched the children swarm around Charlie, their laughter illuminating the park like golden rays piercing through dark clouds. For a fleeting moment, she felt a rush of joy mixed with an aching nostalgia. Charlie, his tail wagging furiously, embraced this new burst of happiness as if he had forgotten every sorrow that had shadowed him. David noticed the look on Lily's face. It was a mixture of hope and heartbreak, and he could almost feel the weight of her memories pressing down on her. "I wish I could have given him this life," she murmured almost to herself. "Maybe he was meant to find you too," Sarah whispered back. It felt odd talking about Charlie as if he were an object to be passed around, but the truth lingered in the air. It felt less about ownership and more about connections. The children surrounded Charlie, their tiny hands petting him, cooing sweet nothings. "He is so fluffy," one cried out while another asked, "Can we take him home?" David felt a small pang at that question and noticed Charlie's eyes gleaming with pure, unadulterated joy. "Hey, let's take a picture," shouted a little boy, pulling out his camera. David instinctively moved closer, positioning himself, Sarah and Lily around Charlie. In the midst of the giggles and barking, he hoped for one frame that captured this strange, yet beautiful moment, an outsider meeting the family that had taken over her heart. Click. The shutter snapped, freezing a memory in time, blending their lives for an instant. In that brief moment, David felt the boundaries blur, the pain of the past becoming less of a chasm and more of a bridge. As the laughter subsided, the children began to disperse, some returning to their parents, while others chased after a frisbee. The park, with its endless green and the soft sounds of nature, felt vast and inviting again, as if extending an olive branch to Lily, David and Sarah. What if we set up a play date? You know, if Charlie enjoys being around other kids, Sarah suggested brightly, her enthusiasm palpable. Lily bit her lip, uncertain. But won't that complicate things? I don't want to interfere. I just wanted to check in on him. And you did, David interjected gently. You showed us a piece of his past and in a way you've added to his story. Lily's gaze flickered back to Charlie, who was now lying in the grass, basking in the sun. The warmth of this small family made her heart swell, but she couldn't shake the anxiety creeping within. She felt like an intruder in their happy space. Maybe I just want to be a part of his story too. Just a little, she confessed, glancing between David and Sarah, her voice softening with vulnerability. David exchanged a look with Sarah, grappling with their own mixture of emotions. Could they truly navigate this complicated web of past and present? Why don't we take it one step at a time? We could share a few moments here and there, Sarah suggested tentatively. Let us not overwhelm anyone. Lily's lips curled into a grateful smile, a flicker of hope reigniting. I'd like that. For Charlie. As they settled on this fragile understanding, David felt a sense of new beginnings. Could this be the foundation for healing? Or just another tangled strand in an already complex web? Before he could ponder it too deeply, a loud clap of thunder echoed across the horizon. The sky suddenly darkened, and the air chilled, a stark reminder of nature's unpredictability. Looks like we might get wet, he said, glancing at the gathering clouds. We should probably head back. Lily nodded, her earlier enthusiasm dimming slightly. I should probably go too. But just as they turned to leave, Charlie dashed forward, barking excitedly at a dark figure that had emerged from the trees. David's heart dropped as he instinctively stepped in front of Sarah, bracing for whatever was about to unfold. Charlie, come back. David shouted just as the figure drew closer, revealing a man with an unmistakable look of determination in his eyes. Is that Charlie? The stranger exclaimed, a sense of urgency in his tone that sent a chill racing down David's spine. Would this man bring more complications to their fragile agreement? Or did he hold answers to questions lingering just beneath the surface? The stranger stepped closer, and the air felt thick with tension. Charlie, caught between his old life and this new family, stood frozen for a moment, tail still wagging but eyes darting back and forth. David remained tense, blocking Sarah even as curiosity flickered in her gaze. Who are you? David asked, his voice firm. There was an instinctive protectiveness rising within him, fueled by the worry of what this man could want. The man's brow furrowed, and he seemed to deflate a bit, realizing he was no longer just a mere observer in this scene. I'm Nathan, he said, holding up his hands in a gesture of peace. Charlie's owner. Well, I was. Lily felt her heart race. A flood of emotions threatened to spill out, confusion mingling with the hints of dread. You had him? How did you find him? She asked, her voice barely breaking a whisper. Nathan glanced at Charlie, who tentatively approached him, sniffing the air as if caught in a memory. I thought I lost him forever. He ran away during a storm last month. I've been looking everywhere. His voice cracked slightly, the weight of guilt palpable. David softened only slightly, his thoughts racing. But he has found a home now. With us. Please, Nathan pleaded, urgency now spilling into his words. I just want to see him one last time. I have to know he is okay. Lily felt torn. Charlie's joyous barks rang in her ears, echoing all the moments they shared since his arrival. But what about Nathan? Was it fair to take away the one connection he had left to a family? A new wave of memories crashed over her. Charlie's first bouncy strides in the park, the night spent curled up together on the couch. Sarah stepped forward, her voice quiet yet strong. He is happy here, Nathan. He has found a family again. Nathan's expression flickered between hope and despair as he knelt down, extending his hand toward Charlie. I just want him to remember me. I never meant to lose him. Charlie, however, seemed to make a choice. With one last look at Nathan, he wagged his tail and trotted back to Lily, his body brushing against her legs, seeking comfort. She bent down, ruffling his fur, unsure if this small gesture would ease the tension surrounding them. Lily glanced up at Nathan, who was still watching intently, disappointment etching his features. I know we can't replace what you had, she began, her voice steady yet soft, but Charlie has found a new home here. He loves it and so do we. Nathan closed his eyes for a moment, weighed down by a sorrow and uncertainty. I just kept hoping to find him, he whispered, a single tear tracing down his cheek. It felt like a punch to Lily's gut. She wasn't just fighting for Charlie's happiness. She was peering into a window of grief that Nathan bore like a heavy cloak. I'm so sorry, she offered quietly. What if David interrupted, a thought forming? What if you stayed close? Maybe we could find a way to keep you in his life without disrupting things. Lily shot David a bewildered look. Could that even work? Nathan considered the offer, slowly nodding, hope sparking in his eyes. I'd like that, he said, glancing back at Charlie. It's better than nothing. As they exchanged cautious opinions and thoughts, a gust of wind rustled through the trees, sending a chill that brought everyone back to the present. David rubbed his arms as rain began to fall lightly, creating a soothing rhythm on the grass. This isn't exactly how I imagined coming back, Nathan said with a weak smile. But at that moment, Lily felt a flicker of something more than just connection, a blossoming warmth. They were all entangled now, bound by Charlie's past and uncertain future. As the rain began to fall heavier, David glanced up. We should all head to my place before we get soaked. Let us figure this out together. They made their way back down the path, laughter and uncertainty mixing in the air as the rain began to blur their surroundings. Lily walked next to Nathan, glancing at him when he caught her eye. You okay? She asked, her concern genuine. I will be, he replied, a hint of hope in his voice. As long as Charlie is happy. But as the clouds rolled in, hiding the sun, a question brewed within Lily. Could they truly find a way to navigate this new dynamic without further complicating Charlie's life? And just as they reached the parking lot, a small bark echoed from behind them. Charlie was chasing a squirrel, bolting back toward the trees. Was he really sure of what he wanted? Or was he caught in a whirlwind of choices he didn't understand? The rain poured down, washing away dirt and doubt, but leaving behind a trail of questions. What would happen next? As they huddled under David's umbrella, the air thick with the petrichor of rain on earth, they exchanged glances laden with unspoken worries. Charlie, oblivious to the intensity of the moment, only had eyes for his newfound friend, a squirrel that was now darting up a tree. The adrenaline made his tail wag even faster, his pure joy cutting through the tension surrounding them. Lily watched Nathan's face as he half smiled, an almost palpable longing in his gaze. It's amazing how quickly they can bounce back. I senti it? Nathan said, his voice gentle but tinged with bitterness. I wish it could have been me playing with him like that. David clapped a hand on Nathan's shoulder, offering a supportive squeeze. You can be part of his life, he reassured, his tone firm with conviction. This isn't an either-or situation. We can make it work if we all want it. Lily felt a swell of hope for Nathan, but a knot tightened in her stomach. Was this really what Charlie wanted? She glanced at him again. He chased the squirrel relentlessly, barking in a way that signified pure, unfiltered happiness. Yet, was he aware of the quiet storm that circled his family? Do you have any idea where you're staying? She asked Nathan gently, trying to divert thought from the loaded dynamics they were facing. I'm not sure yet, Nathan confessed, looking between them as the rain dripped from his hair. I've been crashing with a friend since I got back. I didn't think I'd find Charlie. Not like this. David frowned. Maybe you could stay nearby, find a place close to us. That way you could see him. His voice trailed off, searching for the right words. I mean regularly. Would you really let me? I would hate to disrupt your lives. Nathan stumbled over his own hesitations, the glimmer of hope wavering on the edge. A raindrop slid down Lily's cheek, though she couldn't tell if it was the rain or her own emotions spilling forth. Charlie is special to all of us now, she admitted, choosing her words carefully. We want the best for him. And that might mean inviting you into our lives. Thank you. Both of you, Nathan breathed, a mix of relief and joy sparking in his eyes. I thought losing him meant losing everything. As they entered the warm embrace of David's home, Charlie bounced in, shaking off the rain. He seemed to recognize his surroundings, bounding through the familiar spaces with boundless enthusiasm. They settled around the dining table, the ambience shifting from tension to a more comfortable chatter as David brewed coffee. The scent filled the room, mingling with the dampness from the rain. So, Nathan, David began, his voice coming from behind the coffee maker. What do you do? I know about Charlie, but tell us a bit about you. With a hesitant smile, Nathan started to share stories of his life before Charlie's disappearance, a time filled with laughter, family, and peace. Yet, it was evident the pain of the past still lingered in his words. As Nathan spoke, a lightheartedness crept into the space, and for a moment, it felt as if the uncertainty that bound them all was beginning to loosen, just a bit. But a thought nagged at Lily. Could this newfound relationship help mend the heartache Nathan felt, or would Charlie's existence become a constant reminder of loss? Just then, Charlie jumped up on the table, drawing their attention, his fur still damp from the rain. He let out a small bark as if trying to break the tension, and they all laughed. It made them realize that despite their complicated emotions, one thing remained simple: love. Yet, as night fell and shadows stretched across the walls, an unease settled back in. Lily caught Nathan's gaze, and the weight of the moment pressed on her. Can we really do this? She wondered aloud, her heart racing with the possibility of both joy and heartache. As Charlie curled up between them, finally settling down after his energetic chase, the echo of a new beginning intertwined with the uncertainty of old wounds, leaving them all to ponder their next steps together. With the rain still tapping on the window, an unspoken question hung in the air. Could they truly create a new family? Or would the ghosts of the past loom too large to overcome? Nathan gazed around the room, taking in the warmth emanating from David and Sarah's home. Charlie nestled comfortably in the center, his soft breathing providing a rhythmic sound that filled the silence. It felt as if the walls whispered possibilities, and a new chapter was unfolding right before them as they gathered around the dining table. The steam from the coffee swirled like hope, mingling with cautious optimism. Nathan, David began, his tone inviting. It's time to build a new life for all of us. The air was thick with tension, yet the invitation hung there, filled with potential. Maybe we can create something special together. Nathan ventured slowly, his heart in his throat. I don't want to wrench Charlie from you. I just want a chance to be in his life. Charlie, sensing excitement, lifted his head and wagged his tail, and a wave of warmth swept through the room. Then let us do it, Sarah interjected, a spark of hope illuminating her eyes. We can make a plan work together to ensure Charlie has the love he deserves from all of us. The idea hung heavy in the air, yet carried the lightness of possibility. With a tentative nod, Nathan spoke. I mean, if we're doing this, I'd love to take up dog training. It might help me reconnect with Charlie and bond over something we used to do. David's face lit up. That's perfect. We can even explore training classes together. Bring Charlie along. He'll love it. As laughter bubbled over, Lily felt the knot in her stomach loosen. Maybe they could all navigate this strange new family dynamic, transforming their shared love for Charlie into a bond that couldn't be broken. She looked at Nathan, reaching out gently. Having you close could stitch together our pasts and create new memories. Right, Nathan replied, his voice strengthening. I can't change what happened, but I want to grow from it just like all of you. In that moment, the gathering shifted. They were no longer strangers sharing a space. They began to become a family woven together by their shared experiences, their hearts open to the memories and pains that had shaped them. Charlie hopped from one lap to another, sensing the electric atmosphere. He wasn't just a thread tied between their lives, he was the tapestry that would unite them. With wagging tails and joyous barks, they imagined afternoons filled with parks, joy, and laughter together. Suddenly, the doorbell rang. It sliced through the warmth. Lily looked around, surprise filling her features. Who could it be at this hour? David rose, curiosity piqued, and opened the door. The night air was thick with anticipation, and when he turned back, his eyes widened. It's the neighbors. They've heard about Charlie and want to meet him. With a series of excited yips, Charlie raced over to greet new faces, tail wagging madly as he slipped through the doorway. Laughter, joy, and the infectious energy of young voices rushed into the house like a warm breeze. Can we pet him? The children chimed, eyes sparkling. As laughter filled the space once again, chaos broke out, young hands reaching for Charlie, the warmth of community wrapping around them like a comforting blanket. Lily watched, her heart swelling. In this moment, hope blossomed before her. It wasn't just about Charlie anymore. It was about all of them, learning to weave their stories into one. The laughter echoed around them, and for the first time in a long while, they felt weightless as the evening wore on and stories were shared. The darkness outside faded into the night. Nathan, David, and Sarah exchanged glances, their hearts intertwining. "This is just the beginning," Nathan declared. "Yes," Sarah breathed, beaming with pride, "we can lift each other up. Let us make this a family gathering." As the children chuckled and pets were divvied, laughter filled the air. Charlie stood in the center, a beacon of joy, uniting them in a tapestry stitched from love, heartache, and hope. They had dared to embrace the shadows of their past while stepping into the warmth of their future. And amidst the flurry of activity, as Charlie's joyful barks rang through the cozy atmosphere, it became clear. This was where they belonged. With hearts and lives intertwined, they moved forward together, ready for whatever would come next. Charlie was not just a link between them. He became their shared heartbeat, a reminder that love could mend even the deepest wounds. As the night settled, the stars shone brightly above, illuminating the path ahead. They knew it wouldn't always be easy, but together they could navigate the journey one paw at a time. The sky held promise for tomorrow, and for the first time all of them felt it. So, if you're feeling inspired by Charlie's journey of transformation, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support for stories that bring us together. Leave a like now to help feed the algorithm, and let others experience this uplifting tale. Comment with your thoughts, reactions, and feelings about the ending. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Together we can make a difference.